Welcome to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast, your go-to source for all things women's health. I'm here to guide you through the ups and downs of hormonal changes, helping you understand how these shifts impact every aspect of your life. So whether you're in the perimenopause phase or really any other phase of life, looking to improve your overall well-being, or just seeking practical tips on stress management, nutrition, and fitness, then this podcast is for you. Join me as we explore holistic and functional approaches to health, share expert insights from guests, and empower you to feel your best at every stage of life. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to remind you that the information shared in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any medical condition. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making any changes to your health regimen. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. We're diving into a topic that seems very simple on the surface, but has a profound impact on our health, which is eating slowly and tuning into our hunger and fullness cues. We often rush through meals or eat on autopilot, being distracted, but today we're going to talk about why it's so important to slow down, listen to our bodies, and eat with intention. I'll explain why this is crucial for our health and digestion, and I'll share some practical steps which you can start using today to make this a natural part of your routine. So let's get comfortable and get into it. Let's start by talking about why eating slowly is important. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to rush through meals, especially eating in the car, at our desks, or even just standing up in the kitchen. I mean, a lot of us are distracted. We eat on the go. How are we when we're eating? That's the important question to ask ourselves. But when we eat too quickly, we miss out on some key signals from our body that tells us when we're truly hungry and when we're full or satisfied. And this can lead to overeating, digestive issues, and a disconnect from our body's natural cues. And it's about tuning into our body, and this is one way that we can do it. But if we're so on the go and distracted and so busy, it's really hard to miss those cues that it's telling us. When we eat slowly, we give our body the time it needs to recognize that we're eating and to start the digestion process. And, actually, digestion begins in the mouth with our saliva breaking down the food. I would even say, too, it actually begins in our mind, because even when you think about eating, usually you'll start noticing it, with the saliva in your mouth. So it really is that process. And so taking time to chew properly is crucial. Plus, it takes about 20 minutes for our brain to register that we're even full. And if we're eating too quickly, we might overeat before we even realize that we're good, we're satisfied. So now let's talk about hunger and fullness cues, what they are, why they matter, and how we can tune into them. So hunger cues are your body's way of telling you that it needs nourishment. And this might be like a rumbling stomach, low energy, trouble concentrating, you feel hangry, hopefully you don't get to that point. And fullness cues, on the other hand, are your body signals that you've had enough to eat, that your body has the nutrients, that it is satisfied. So you might feel your stomach maybe stretched slightly, or you might just feel just a satisfied feeling and no longer interested in eating, no longer wanting that food. And that is okay. The key here is to eat when you're hungry, not when you're starving. But when you start to feel those initial signs of hunger, and eating slowly allows you to tune into these cues more accurately. It really helps you to recognize when you've had enough and when it's time to stop. Even if there's still food on your plate. I know I grew up with my parents weren't so strict, but anytime I was at my grandparents' house, it was always like, you have to eat all the food on your plate before you can get up from the table. And it's like a lot of us were raised that way, but you shouldn't have guilt or shame if your body truly is telling you that you're satisfied. You don't want to overstuff yourself and have a whole host of other problems that go with that. It's okay if there's still food. It's okay, you can save it, have it for leftovers, and that's totally fine. And so why is all of this so crucial for our health and digestion? When we eat slowly and mindfully, we're giving our digestive system the support it needs to do its job properly. And this means working with our body and not against it. It also means less bloating, less discomfort, and better absorption of nutrients. And if we're scarfing down our meals, our stomach has to work overtime to break down food that hasn't been properly chewed, which can lead to indigestion and other issues. So do you feel like you have acid reflux? Do you burp a lot after meals, during meals? That could be a signal as well. But beyond digestion, eating slowly and listening to our hunger and fullness cues can also help with weight management, reducing stress, and improving our relationship with food. When we're more in tune with our bodies, we're less likely to eat out of boredom, stress, or any emotional triggers. And we learn to trust our bodies and honor their needs, which is a huge step towards overall well-being. And I know that making the shift to eat slowly can be challenging, especially if you're used to eating quickly or on the go. I'm speaking to my healthcare workers right now because I was in the Western medical field for over 20 plus years, and I know I had sometimes 30-minute lunches, not always 1 hour. 1 hour would be a luxury. But you get those little breaks, you have your half-hour lunches, and it is hard. So I totally get it. Do what you can. Slow down, though. Be mindful. And if you have any solid foods or meats, chew to an applesauce consistency. That's going to help. So let's address some common questions and concerns. And here goes to that what I was just talking about. What if I'm too busy to eat slowly? I've had nurses and physical therapists that have been my patient or clients, and it's so common that I've been asked that. And it's definitely a common concern, and I get it. Life is busy, and sometimes it feels like there just isn't time to slow down. But here's the thing. Eating slowly doesn't mean spending an hour on every meal. Even taking a few extra minutes to chew your food, like I said, to that nice applesauce consistency, and pause between bites can make a big difference. Start small here, and don't feel guilty. Do what you can. Maybe just one meal a day where you consistently slow down. Progress over perfection. And over time, you'll find it becomes easier to make this a habit. And the other question is, this is so common. How do I know when I'm really full? And this is tricky because it depends. But especially if you're used to cleaning your plate out of habit, it's really tricky. And the key is to eat until satisfied, but not stuffed. So pay attention to the signals that your body is sending. Do you feel comfortable? Are you still enjoying the taste of your food? Or has it lost its appeal? And it can help to pause midway through your meal, put your fork down, and check in with yourself. If you feel content, it's okay to stop. Like I said, even if there's still food left, save it for the next day. And what if I've always been a fast eater? This was me and definitely a lot of people I speak with. Changing lifelong habits can be tough in anything, but it's completely doable. So start by bringing awareness to how quickly you're eating. And you might want to set a timer or try counting your chews. That might be overkill, and I personally don't suggest that you count your chews or that you focus on just I have to have 20 or 30 chews and I'm good. That's overdoing it, I believe, but you can do it whatever works for you. I just think if you have solids, chewing to an applesauce consistency will help, but I digress. And just to see how fast you eat, it'll be a fun little game to test yourself. And so for this first time, set a timer. And it's just, those are some of the simple techniques that can help slow you down. And just really see where you're at, and then kind of monitor your progress from there. Because remember, it's not about perfection. We're looking at progress, even any small progress, every little bit counts. So now that we've covered the why and how of eating slowly and tuning into your hunger and fullness cues, let's talk about some simple action steps you can start to do today. So set the scene. Before you eat, take a moment to set the scene. Sit down at a table, away from distractions like your phone. Yes, put your phone down, away from you, in a basket, not on the table. And even TV, have it shut off, be away from the TV. This will help you focus on your meal and your body's signals. And number 2 is chew thoroughly. Okay, so I already told you, I don't care too much about how many times you chew, but in general, it is recommended to have at least 20 to 30 times before swallowing. Like I said, as long as it's a nice, good applesauce consistency and you have that consistency, you might be fine. And it might feel strange at first to chew that much, but it is a great way to pause and slow down, and it does support digestion. And number 3 is pause between bites. So put your fork down between bites and take a moment to breathe. This simple pause can help you tune into your body and notice when you're starting to feel full. And number 4 is start with one meal. Don't overdo it and try to do all meals that you have a day, whether that's 3 or 2, however, just start with one. And if eating slowly, it might feel overwhelming, but if it does, just start with one meal a day where you can practice these techniques. And as you get more comfortable, you can expand to other meals. So really as simple as that. And number 5 is reflect after eating. So after your meal, take a moment to reflect. How do you feel? Are you satisfied? Did you enjoy the experience away from your phone or distractions? Did you actually taste the food? And this reflection can help you become more in tune with your body's needs. All right. So thank you so much for joining me to talk about the power of eating slowly, very briefly, and tuning into your hunger and fullness cues. So remember, this is about building a more mindful relationship with food and honoring your body's natural signals. Small changes can lead to big improvements in how you feel, both physically and mentally. And if you found this episode helpful, please share it with a friend who might benefit from it. And if you have any questions or want to share your own experiences, I would love to hear from you. Just reach out. Until next time, take care of yourself, slow down and pause, and remember, you've got this. Thank you for tuning in to the Happy Hormones Coach podcast. I hope you found today's episode insightful and empowering. Remember, taking charge of your health is a journey, and I'm here to support you every step of the way. If you enjoyed this episode or any of the other episodes, please be sure to share, subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It does help me to reach more women like you who are striving for optimal health and happiness. And don't forget to follow me on social media for daily tips and inspiration. Until next time, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep thriving.